Hello, and welcome to the Guilbault Girls Show, where you will have the opportunity to hear from mothers, fathers, siblings, and individuals themselves about their journey of living with a disability. I know, it's called Guilbault Girls, but we have a bonus for you as we get the Guilbault boys to interview some of the dads and siblings and get their perspectives too. We'll also have special guests from time to time to share the many resources that are available to those living with a disability and their families. So get ready to laugh, smile, cry, maybe even get a little angry when you hear some of these stories of their day-to-day struggles. But let's not forget their many triumphs. As they say, it takes a village. And if it weren't for our village, we wouldn't be where we are today. So join us. Hello, and welcome to the Guilbault Girls. Today we have a special guest, Billy Price. He's a co-founder of Billy Footwear. And as a teenager, Seattle native Billy Price suffered a spinal cord injury and became paralyzed from the chest down, losing the ability to move his fingers. Daily tasks became difficult, but using his creative mind and unyielding spirit, he never gave up. He continued on, facing life's challenges with tenacity and determination. Born out of need, Billy Footwear was co-founded on the principle of inclusion and perseverance. Along with co-founder Darin Donaldson, Billy strives to add value to the lives of others and make a measurable difference in the world, one foot at a time. So welcome, Billy. Thank you so much for being on our show. We're so excited to have you.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for the invitation.
You're welcome. So a few questions. I want to first, if you can tell us a little bit about your journey and how Billy Footwear came to be.
Oh boy. I mean, that's kind of a tough one to summarize in just a few sentences. Well, let me start. I'm a wheelchair user. That wasn't always the case. Unfortunately, when I was a teenager, I fell out of a window and my life really changed forever. And there were a lot of things that I used to be able to do that I could all of a sudden no longer do. And putting on shoes was just one of those things. And there really wasn't anything on the market that allowed me to, one, put my shoes on independently, but two, have a pair of shoes that I could put on independently that would look good. So because of that, I just kind of gave up. I mean, people were always putting my shoes on for me, but that always kind of bugged me. And then later in life, I got connected with a longtime friend. And as we were catching up and throwing around ideas, a shoe idea kind of came to the surface. And then later on, we turned it into a business. It was basically trying to create something that I could put my foot in unobstructed and to be able to close with limited hand dexterity. So the shoes we have right now is kind of the idea that we came up with, and it's been amazing.
Well, I have to tell you that I was beyond excited when you first launched, because literally, I mean, I had done a video for Mindy Shire a long time ago when she first partnered with Tommy Hilfiger.
It was not pretty the first time.
And when they first came out with the jeans and they had the magnets, so I had done a video of her and it went crazy on Facebook, but it was showing how hard it was. And I did another video of just the struggle of putting on a pair of shoes. One, to find shoes that fit over AFOs is hard enough. And then to put them on, by the end, you're sweating, you're frustrated.
I'm pushing, I'm pulling, and I was like, I can't.
Yep, it was horrible. So, I mean, when you launched, I mean, you made our lives so much easier. Like literally within, I don't know, it takes not even 5 minutes to slap them on. It makes such a huge difference, and I just can't tell you how grateful I am as a mom and how grateful she is, because they're fashionable, and she's got right now she has 11 pairs. I can't tell you how many pairs we've gone through just because
we're too crazy.
Yeah, because she drags her foot a lot. So we found that we were going through shoes so much. And then when yours come out, they lasted so much longer. And then we just love them, and the price is right. And they're lifesavers. They really are. And to be able to have a whole bunch of pairs, so now she can, wear fashionable shoes with her outfits is so awesome. So I just want to thank you for that.
Well, it's our pleasure. I mean, those are the kind of stories that just warm our heart through and through and through. And it's also how we get connected to customers, and there's so much power in word of mouth, but there's also just networking and just the power of association. And anyway, yeah, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, and I can't tell you when we go to the any doctor and even the therapist, but even all at Johns Hopkins and
I know
Kennedy
my
Krieger.
school's like, where did you get those shoes?
Yeah. So everybody always asks, So we're like, Billy Footwear, and yes, we met him too. We met him in New York at the fashion show.
My parent actually wants to buy a pair of shoes off your website.
Well, she should because and that's another thing. They're universal, so they're for everybody. They're not just for people that have AFOs, which we'll get into that too, which is brilliant. Anybody can wear them. They're awesome. So I wanted to ask you, when you first started designing them, did you have to wear AFOs first of all when you had the spinal injury, and is that one of your reasons too? To try and tailor it around to fit over AFOs also, or?
Right. Well, I'm really glad you brought that up because I have never had to wear AFOs. So when I broke my neck, my foot is just kind of a limp noodle at the end of my leg. And so the concept was really like, one, not being able to have the hand dexterity to deal with laces, but it was secondly just the challenge of having I don't know, it's just a limp foot at the end of my leg to like shove into a shoe. Mm-hmm. So the concept of being able to drop it in unobstructed, to be able to see exactly where your toes are at, making sure that your foot's placed correctly, having the socks without any wrinkles in it. That was really that concept. And then plus being able to have the zipper with some sort of a pull on it to be able to hook my thumb around to be able to zip it up. So the funny thing is when we first launched, we first started the company, we did a Kickstarter campaign, and we had 2 kids' shoes, 2 kids' shoes, 2 women's shoes, and 3 men's shoes. And when the campaign was underway, there were people that were finding out about us. So we did not know who they were. And they'd reach out and they would ask, do these work with AFOs? And I had to kind of take a moment and say, let me get back to you. Because I had to go to Google to put in the letters AFO to find out what an AFO was. I was completely unfamiliar with the term. And then you see the picture and you're like, oh my gosh, that rigid piece of plastic. Yeah, I can totally see the challenge. You're having the same challenge that I am about shoving your foot into a shoe, like that 90-degree angle, trying to get it around the heel. So when they reached out, I'm like, oh my gosh, sure, it'll work great. So that's really where the whole rubber met the road when it came to AFOs.
Yeah. And also
I have to wear 2, so.
Yeah. And also too, just to let the listeners know too, that, if you get a pair of Billy Footwear shoes, that what's awesome is you take the soles come right out. Whereas there's been other shoes where I literally had to like cut, yank, or try and get the inner soles out in order to put the AFO in. And then also too, all you have to do, which is great because really they are wide enough, you just loosen the laces, if you will, and they zip up so easy. So I just think they're wonderful. So I know that Billy's, go ahead.
Yeah, let me jump in on that because I'm glad you brought those 2 things up because those are all modifications that were brought to the table because of customer requests. So when our first pair of shoes, it had the inserts were glued down, and it was the community that reached out saying, you know what, if these inserts were removable, that would really help us out. And being a small company and being nimble, we were able to just call up the factory and say, you know what, is it possible to leave these things so we can remove them? And they said, sure. So that's where that evolution came from. And the other one was I really love that you brought up laces. They are functional laces to be able to get the fit right. Mm-hmm. Our first shoes that we launched with, only 1 pair of them had laces. All the others were just kind of a fixed size. So that was another request saying, you know what, for the most part, everybody has feet, but everyone's foot is just a little bit different. So if we were able to have adjustable laces to be able to get the fit, create some sort of adjustability to like moderate that size or edema or whatever it may be, that would also help us out. So again, that was a request from the customer base to help us kind of modify the design. So again, being small, we were able to make that change.
Yeah, and it's so important. And I know I've emailed you a few times too, before I even met you in person. And, you literally emailed right back. And your customer service is just, on spot too, which is helpful. And I love that you put the videos out on your Facebook page, having different people come in and getting their views and stuff. I just love how you listen to the people.
We do our best. There's lots of voices now. It's definitely like compounded through the years. So we have to keep building up the team to be able to get back to everyone in a really timely manner.
Yeah. Yeah. But you've really done a good job of really, listening and tweaking things to really help out, which is great.
Okay.
So I saw that your wife is a physical therapist.
She is.
So was she able to provide a lot of input during the design for you too? I mean, I just thought that was wonderful when I didn't know that. And I was reading them like, oh my gosh, she's a physical therapist. I'm like, how awesome. I'm like, I wonder how she partnered with him when designing the shoes too, because I'm sure she had a lot of input in it as well.
She did.
But then again, I wasn't sure what population that she worked with either.
So my wife is a physical therapist, and that was just one of the questions I typically get is, did we meet, or was I her patient or something like that? And no, I was not her patient. It was just a real crazy coincidence that she ended up, going into physical therapy. And what she really specializes in is more seating, wheelchair seating.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, but it's in the neuro space. So there's lots of clients that she works with that now they end up actually wearing our shoes. They're wearing the Billy shoes, which is pretty remarkable. But I mean, she's not advertising. She's wearing the shoes, but she's not. They look at her feet like, oh my gosh, those are the same shoes that I have. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so her input early on, it was great. I mean, we could definitely get her input, but really the design and how things came together, that's all Darin. I mean, so I was kind of the inspiration behind like bringing the need to the table and just kind of illustrating what the challenge was, and then throwing out just the idea of having the zipper concept. But when it really came down to actually building the shoe, figuring out what kind of size need to be, the laces, the actual like components, maybe the midsole, the outsole, the materials to use, that was all Darin. And it's been a great partnership with him, because we both come at a problem from two different angles, mm-hmm. and our skill sets are different, and we really complement each other pretty well.
That's awesome. One, I think it's amazing that you guys have the option to have somebody be able to buy just one shoe, because there are a lot of people out there that have injuries, or they may have had a stroke. It only affects one side of them, so they only need one shoe. Or they have to have they have an AFO, and or they have a lift or something like that. So, what made you think to do that, for one? And then also, how did you decide on what sizes to make available, and color choice and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Well, so that single shoe program, similar like what we were talking about when it came to having the removable insoles and the adjustable laces, there was a customer that reached out, and said, you know what? I mean, my child has or wears a brace only on one foot, or there was a need. They illustrated the need to have two different size shoes, and they brought to our attention that for their entire lives they've always had to buy two pairs of shoes and then just take half the pair and just do away with them. Yeah. So they asked the question. They said, you know what, is it possible to be able to buy two different sized individual shoes to make a pair? And I don't know, Darin and I just said like, sure. All right. We'll see how to make that work. Oh. And it was just a matter of working with our own e-commerce system to figure out a way to actually.
Sorry, my dog is barking.
No
it's part of. As I said, it's part of 2002 with the pandemic. It's
2022.
It's no surprise you're going to have dogs barking. You're going to have kids crying and screaming in the background. People are working virtually from home now, so.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to have my 3-year-old come running in here anytime. So.
I apologize.
But anyway,
sorry.
No problem. But the whole single shoe deal, that was a request from our customer base. They reached out and asked if we could do this, and we did what we could to meet the demand. And we figured out a way to kind of create like a discount code on our own site. And we have a help video to really illustrate how to place an order. But it's been awesome. Now, in terms of like the second part of your question of deciding what shoes to offer up, we just opened up the entire catalog. So anything on billyfootwear.com, you can buy as a single shoe or combine the two. I mean, you could have a right shoe that's red and a left shoe that's blue if you wanted to. That's typically something we don't have. Oftentimes it's more of just different sizes or different widths, but we really wanted to make it, super convenient for the customer. So we just opened up the whole catalog.
That's interesting, because I'm going to have to go back to your website and see where that is, because I had thought about her because she always drags that right foot so much. The left foot is intact, the right foot is down. So I had thought about doing that. But you know what? I was on Derek's site for Zappa's Adaptive, but I only saw that there was like a few colors available, if you will. So that's good to know that on your Billy's footwear, I keep saying Billy footwear, you have the choice to choose any color.
Yeah, so that really boils down to more of like the logistics behind the scenes. So for Zappos, what they did was, and this is probably getting too much in the weeds, but I've already started, so I'll keep going. So what they do is they select a certain amount of shoes, because what they need to do is they take a pair of shoes and they actually split it apart. So each individual shoe has its own product number. So on our side, since we're kind of a smaller company, we actually make the change on the line. So when an order comes in, the guys are actually going out in the warehouse, grabbing 2 pairs of shoes, and they're taking whatever the customer, illustrates what their need is. They'll say like, I need a size 8 left and a size 10 right. So the guys on the line will actually take them out of the box, put it together to make its own pair, and then send it out to the customer. And there's kind of a double check process, just so we don't send the opposite pair accidentally.
That's awesome.
But on Zappos, it's a whole different automated type system. So because of that, it's way more challenging to open up the whole catalog. Whereas for us, being smaller and having it done right on the line, we can make that adjustment.
That's awesome. That's really good to know too. I'm actually going to be interviewing Derek too at a later date as well for Zappos Adaptive.
Oh, awesome. I love Derek, man. He's
I know,
amazing.
he's awesome. We met him when she 2019 when she was in the fashion show, and since we were there for the 2 days and we got to know him, and he's awesome. He texts me, he's like, "Hey, I see that your son's out in Colorado, stationed out in Colorado, tell him if he wants a home cooked meal, he's more than welcome, because his family lives out in Colorado." I'm like, how awesome is that? Like, he's just, we have come across and met so many people throughout this journey that it's just been so touching. Like, it's just like, as I say, when people talk about her having a disability, I'm like, we never would have had the chance to meet half the people or do half the things that we did if not. Like, you know what I mean? It's a blessing to be able to meet these people and share to other people. It's just awesome. Sorry, I'm getting all teary-eyed again here. It's awesome. It's been an amazing journey. So can you share with the listeners too on where you can purchase Billy's shoes, we were talking about Zappos too, because there's an array of places where you can find Billy footwear.
Right. Yeah. So, the first place we typically point people is just our website. So billyfootwear.com. We started off as an e-commerce business, and we're still an e-commerce business, but we have so many retail partners at this point. And, some are really big box stores, and other ones are just the small independent shops. And even, some clinics carry our shoes now too, which is really exciting. So if you go to billyfootwear.com, there's a tab kind of up in the header that says store locations. So if you click on that, you can see all the different places. So some of the real big major retailers would be Zappos. Zappos has just been an absolute incredible supporter of the Billy brand ever since day one, which is, the summer of 2017. That's really when we hit the shelves. So Zappos, Nordstrom, we're also on Amazon. Amazon owns Zappos, which we don't work directly with Amazon, but we work with Amazon through Zappos.
Okay.
In the Midwest, it's Von Maur and Shields. We're also on QVC, so that's kind of fun doing like the home shopping network, doing those live television bits. It's always butterflies in the stomach. We recently launched with Target, which has been pretty incredible. So the shoes in Target, if you look at it side by side compared to a shoe like at Zappos as compared to Target, visually they're going to look the same. But I just want to bring to the attention that Target drives an incredibly aggressive price point. So in order to meet that, there just aren't as many component elements to the shoe. So visually they may look the same, but when it's on foot, you're going to find that the Target shoe, there's just less structure to it. Not to say it's not a quality shoe, it's a quality shoe. I just want to bring your attention that, a $30 shoe is going to be different than a $60 shoe.
Exactly. Yeah. And I did see that because I was reading some of the comments, and I was so excited that they were in Target. And I'll buy them anywhere, but they're awesome. But I'm glad that you did bring that up. And then compared to half the shoes that people purchase, I mean, really the price point is perfect. I mean, and then you always have, you have your incentive, which you can talk about too, when you purchase and you get the points, the point system you have.
Yeah, so that's been awesome too, like being able to, really try to add value to the customer. We want to empower the customer to be able to leave reviews, but we also want to empower the customer with a rewards program. So it's been awesome having a rewards program for just kind of incentivize those to kind of follow us on social media, but also to provide feedback on how the designs are working for them. And then even getting points on your birthday. I mean, that's an awesome bonus. So it's been fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Her last pair I bought, they were, I didn't have to pay hardly anything with the reward points. And then you also had the big sale too, because you run a lot of sales going on too. So
we do. Yeah. We typically run 3 clearance sales a year, one in the springtime, one in the summertime, and then one right before Thanksgiving. This one, oh my gosh, this last Thanksgiving, it was so overwhelming. There were so many people that came to the site and ordered, and it was just absolutely so incredibly heartwarming to send all these shoes out. But it did put us really behind, and we were just kind of doing everything we could, all hands on deck to be able to get stuff out for Christmas.
I know we bought 3 pair. And I have to tell you, I love your boxes. Because
she uses her boxes for like different random things. I'm like, Mom, what are you doing?
Oh my gosh, I love
because
that.
I have all my craft stuff, and then I hand stamp individual, letters for the words, which we'll get to, and I put them on bracelets and necklaces and anklets, and so I have like an array of things in my office / craft room, and they're great because I have them all stacked in my cubicles. I have them labeled, and so I love your boxes.
Oh my gosh, this is so nerdy, but I am so happy you said that, because we worked so hard on that box originally. Because the whole thing about the shoes, like the zipper going around the toe, it really opens up like a book. So we wanted to have the box mimic the same thing, opening up like a book. So, and we took the added effort to make sure the box is reversible. Anyway.
Yeah, so for people that don't know, the boxes are awesome because they're reversible and you can just reuse them for everything and label them. And oh my God, I love them.
Oh my gosh.
So and it was so funny. I'm like, I need like one more box. And I said to my friend, I'm like, hey, do you have any Billy boxes? She's like, I do. And she actually gave me one because I needed another one for my last thing for my cubby. Oh my gosh, that is hysterical. So tell me about your affiliate program. So I know you talked about the rewards program, but I saw something on your website about the affiliate program. So what is that?
Yeah. So just to back up just a tad, our brand is really all about adding value. We really want to make a difference. And we understand really the power of association, the power of word of mouth. And a lot of that, everyone's got a story. So what we want to do is we want to collaborate as much as we can. So what we found was there were so many nonprofits out there that were already using the Billy shoes, and they were finding tremendous value in the shoes, like just really helping them, whatever the case may be. So we started to work with all these nonprofits and just say, you know what? Maybe we can offer the shoes to your nonprofit at a bit of a discount. And then with each conversion that, someone within your organization buys the shoes, it leads to a donation to the nonprofit as well. So we call them our association partners. Okay. Essentially what we do is we offer the members of those nonprofits the shoes at 10% discount. And then with each purchase, there's a 5% donation back to the nonprofit. So with any nonprofit, the two real drivers are, one, the community itself, and then 2, just that revenue stream to, expand the mission, whatever it may be. So we have over 40 collaborations going on right now, and we are always looking for other folks to join the program because it really is a win-win.
Well, We'll have to see about the Maryland School for the Blind. They love those shoes. And actually, they have your website up there on their in their newsletters, and I think it might be on their website, but I know they put it always in the newsletters and stuff. And
Oh, wow.
And Zappa's because so when Faith did her documentary, and it aired on PBS, and then we've had interviews in TV and different what's the word I'm talking about, newspapers and stuff like that, and so they really were just enthralled by all of it, and they put the links up too, because there's a lot of people that don't know,
Right.
There's a lot of people that don't even know there's adaptive clothing out there. So, again, like you said, it's word of mouth and hey, and just telling all these different places about it. You want your drink?
Well, that sounds amazing. I mean, we would love to get connected with them. So if you can help facilitate that, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Is there any last words that you would like to say? Well, we'll get to that. So we're going to wrap this interview up, and then we're going to go ahead and do another interview. So stick around if you would like to hear more about Billy and his personal journey after his accident. So make sure you stay tuned. Share this episode, and just go to Billy. Go ahead and tell them where to find you, and I'll put all this in the show notes too.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so our website, we keep it simple. It's billyfootwear.com, and then to follow us on social, we have social handles. Our social handle across the board is @billyfootwear. So you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. I mean, I don't even know. It's a laundry list of like different social channels, but they're all @billyfootwear, and then of course billyfootwear.com.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us as we spread awareness through our personal stories and the many resources shared. You can help us by joining our village simply by sharing our show to the masses. If you would like to support the Guilbault Girls on another level, click on the link in the show notes to make a donation in any amount. Add your address and you'll receive a hand-stamped token with the word village on it in appreciation. Be sure to subscribe to our Guilbault Girls podcast and YouTube show, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram @Guilbault Girls. Till next time.